Ladies and gentlemen, today we dive into the book of 2 Samuel, a powerful narrative that captures the triumphs and tragedies of King David's reign over Israel. This text offers a deep exploration of leadership, morality, and the consequences of human frailty, providing us with timeless lessons about the use and abuse of power, the nature of sin, and the possibility of redemption. 1. David's ascension, the fulfillment of God's promise. At the start of 2 Samuel we witness the fulfillment of a long-awaited promise. David becomes the king of Israel. After years of struggle, exile, and conflict, David finally assumes the throne. His rise symbolizes the triumph of divine will as God's chosen king takes his rightful place. David's ascension represents a moment of hope for Israel as the nation unites under a king who is described as a man after God's own heart. This is more than just a political victory, it's a spiritual fulfillment, highlighting that true power comes from divine appointment, not human ambition. 2. David's military success, the peak of his power. Under David's rule, Israel reaches new heights of military strength and territorial expansion. David conquers Jerusalem, makes it the political and spiritual capital of Israel, and leads successful campaigns against surrounding nations, solidifying his reign. His victories on the battlefield establish him as a formidable leader, but more importantly, they signify God's favor upon his reign. This period of success and prosperity shows how obedience to God's commands can lead to flourishing. However, it also raises an important question: what happens when a leader becomes too powerful? Does the line between divinely appointed king and human tyrant blur? 3. The Davidic Covenant, a promise of eternal kingship. One of the most significant events in 2 Samuel is the establishment of the Davidic covenant. In 2 Samuel 7, God makes a covenant with David, promising that his descendants will rule Israel forever. This covenant not only solidifies David's legacy but also lays the foundation for the messianic hope in later scriptures. Through this covenant, God promises that the house of David will endure and that one day a future king, eventually understood to be Jesus Christ, will come from his lineage to establish an everlasting kingdom. The Davidic covenant is a powerful reminder that God's promises transcend human history, offering hope even in times of darkness. 4. The fall of David, power corrupts. But as 2 Samuel progresses, we see the darker side of David's reign. The story of David and Bathsheba is perhaps the most notorious episode in the book. In a moment of weakness, David abuses his power, committing adultery with Bathsheba and orchestrating the death of her husband Uriah to cover it up. This is a stark reminder that even the greatest of leaders are not immune to temptation. David's actions here mark a turning point in his reign, illustrating the corrupting influence of power and the devastating consequences of unchecked sin. This event raises a crucial debate: can a leader, even one chosen by God, fall so far from grace and still be worthy of redemption? 5. The role of Nathan the prophet, speaking truth to power. In the wake of David's sin, the prophet Nathan confronts him with one of the most famous parables in the Bible, a story about a rich man who steals a poor man's only lamb. When David, outraged, declares that the rich man deserves death, Nathan delivers the chilling response, "You are the man." This moment is a powerful example of the prophetic role in holding leaders accountable. Nathan's courage in confronting the king shows that no one, not even a king, is above God's law. The lesson here is clear: true leadership requires accountability, and those in power must be willing to hear uncomfortable truths. 6. David's repentance, the path to redemption. After being confronted by Nathan, David's response is one of genuine repentance. He doesn't deny his sin or make excuses. Instead, he acknowledges his wrongdoing and seeks God's forgiveness. Psalm 51, traditionally attributed to David during this time, is a profound expression of repentance filled with sorrow for sin and a plea for God's mercy. David's repentance shows that while no one is without sin, redemption is possible through genuine contrition. This is a critical point in the narrative. Even the gravest of sins can be forgiven if one turns back to God with a sincere heart. 7. The consequences of sin, family and national turmoil. Though David is forgiven, the consequences of his sin ripple through his family and the nation. The sword never departs from David's house as foretold by Nathan. His son Amnon commits a grievous crime against his half-sister Tamar, leading to family strife. Absalom, another son, murders Amnon in revenge and later leads a rebellion against David, plunging the nation into civil war. These events demonstrate that while God forgives, sin still has real and painful consequences. David's family drama becomes a symbol of the moral decay that can follow unchecked power and unrepented actions, a stark reminder that personal failings can have widespread devastating effects. 8. Absalom's rebellion, the tragedy of a father and son. One of the most heartbreaking episodes in 2 Samuel is Absalom's rebellion. Absalom, David's beloved son, leads a revolt against his father, seeking to usurp the throne. The civil war that follows tears the nation apart and culminates in Absalom's death. David's grief at the death of his son, "Oh my son Absalom, my son Absalom. If only I had died instead of you," is a poignant moment of personal tragedy. This episode explores the complexity of fatherhood, leadership, and the deep pain of broken family relationships. It raises a fundamental question: can a leader balance personal loss with public duty? 9. David's return to power, a fragile restoration. After Absalom's death, David returns to power, but his reign is forever changed. The fractures in his family and the nation are evident, and David himself seems a more broken, subdued figure. His return to the throne is not the triumphant restoration one might expect, but rather a fragile, tentative recovery. This reflects a broader theme in 2 Samuel, the fragility of power. No matter how great a leader's achievements, human frailty, sin, and the consequences of moral failure can never be fully escaped. 10. Legacy of David, flawed but chosen. In the end, 2 Samuel leaves us with a complex portrait of David. He is a man of incredible faith and courage, but also a man of deep flaws. His reign is marked by both unparalleled successes and profound failures. Yet despite his many shortcomings, David remains God's chosen king. The Davidic covenant still stands, and David's lineage continues to hold a place of significance in the biblical narrative. This tension between human imperfection and divine election is at the heart of 2 Samuel. It challenges us to think about the nature of leadership, the possibility of redemption, and the enduring mercy of God. Conclusion: leadership, responsibility, and redemption. Ladies and gentlemen, the book of 2 Samuel presents a powerful and often sobering reflection on leadership, responsibility, and the human condition. It shows us the heights to which a leader can rise and the depths to which they can fall. But more importantly, it reminds us that no matter how far we stray, there is always the possibility of redemption through genuine repentance and faith in God. David's story is a mirror to our own lives, full of potential frailty and the ever-present opportunity for forgiveness. Thank you for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, today we dive into the book of 2 Samuel, a powerful narrative that captures the triumphs and tragedies of King David's reign over Israel. This text offers a deep exploration of leadership, morality, and the consequences of human frailty, providing us with timeless lessons about the use and abuse of power, the nature of sin, and the possibility of redemption. 1. David's ascension, the fulfillment of God's promise. At the start of 2 Samuel we witness the fulfillment of a long-awaited promise,